Do you?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
These guys gotta get off my tail.
Oh my God.
All right.
Okay.
So roll for initiative. Roll d20. Roll low.
Oh
Tell me
my
what you get.
God.
7.
Here we go.
All right. You
boys.
have initiative.
Okay. So
right.
I'll go for the swing, I guess.
All right.
I also rolled a 7.
All right. And that's what you need to hit. So roll d20 for damage.
Okay. 2.
All right. It does 2 points of damage to him, and he's hurt, and he drops to his knees and starts groveling. What have I done to please you? And the rest of the groupies gather around you and grab your hammer arm, and they're holding. Don't punish him. He will find a way to please you, dancing dwarf.
I tell them, I told you guys to wait outside.
Yes, yes.
We'll never leave you, dancing dwarf.
Oh, God. Hit the other one.
I tell them, you want another hit to the noggin?
They're holding your arm, so.
Oh,
Morgan,
that's
you have to.
You're gonna have to
I've done
kind of line
everything.
them out of there.
Yeah.
and leave me outside?
As this is going on, and Borgen is involved with his groupies, you guys notice that a glass panel on that shelf in front of the seats lights up. It's about the same size as the one that was sitting on the seats separately. It lights up. You see kind of a humanoid face on the screen saying, "Don't worry. We've got you out of there. You'll be at the transport station in a few moments, and we've sent a team to clear the area." And then the screen goes off.
And they say that in the Outworlders language, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I understand that, and
Yep.
I relay that to the rest of the team. At which point, I tell Borgen to. Are they still holding Borgen down?
They're holding his hammer arm like they're trying at them that they'll find a way to please him.
You cut off there.
Your audio cut out.
They cut off.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
They're basically holding his hammer arm, and they're negotiating with him, trying to convince him to not pound on them, that they'll find a way to please him.
Okay, and I get close to Borgen and I whisper to him, "Can you have them dance outside the door while you're dancing in front of the door, and then we can close it?"
I'm going to call out Borgen. What about that dance where everybody stands 10 feet apart?
Yes. Thank you.
And then
that one.
spread
By
out.
the way,
What
so I
about
can
that
remember, who was looking at the square rectangular panel thing you found sitting in the seat? I can't remember.
I was.
Okay. That screen now lights up, and you hear kind of a female voice, but you can't understand what the voice is saying. And you see what appears to be a squad of Outworlders in different uniforms, not cloaks, but actually in uniforms. You're getting a view somehow of outside of this building, and they're definitely running down the street in the direction of the building. They appear to be holding larger versions of those special wand things that assassin used to blow up the head of the Outworlder that you guys were talking to.
Borgen, start dancing.
All right.
Borgen, what about that dance where you spread really far out?
I tell the crowd, I'm teaching you guys a new dance. It's called the 10-foot boogie. And everyone back away 10 feet, and we'll get this party started.
All right. So they back away kind of toward the door to the garage or shed area is, and you're going to, I guess, teach them some kind of dance. What do you guys, the rest of you guys, want to do? Oh, by the way, that pad, that thing you were looking at that had metal on the back and glass on the front, continues to show the picture. It really somehow is like, maybe it's a crystal ball, just really flat and rectangular, giving you a view of outside of the shuttle, and it's showing you this squad. They're now like one building away from rushing with these special wands into the garage.
Okay, I say to Vidar, "Be ready."
Vidar closed the door as soon as they... As soon as they're out, they're doing
Is
their
the
10
door
foot.
Don't say
open
that.
currently?
Yeah.
No, the door was closed. Remember you closed the door?
It was closed.
Open it. Open it.
So I open it, and then
Okay.
Borgin does his
Morgan,
thing.
run in.
So you
He's
you
in.
open
They're
the
already
door.
in. They're already in. He has to
They're already
lead them
in.
out.
Borgin, I whisper
Yeah,
to
they're already
Borgin,
in.
Borgin, lead him out, and we'll try this again.
Okay, so I start doing some sort of dance, and I'm walking out towards the shed.
Okay, you go out into the shed, and about half of the groupies have made their way, and they're still coming out into the shed when the squad runs around the corner and starts opening up. These very large canister things they're carrying have lightning bolts that come out of them, but in a very controlled and straight line. And basically, everything has broken loose in the garage. Groupies start going down with screams of pain. A lot of these are one-shot deaths. What do you do?
Are they
I
all
run
out?
back. I run back
No,
into the.
they stop because people started shooting and they started dropping. The rest of the groupies run back inside and they pull the dwarf out of the way of the open doors so he'll be
That's fine.
safe.
Take
the doors open. The squad's in the garage. What do you do?
I close the door.
Morgan, get in and let's
Is
go.
Borgin inside?
Yeah.
Is Borgin in the door?
Morgan's inside, and there are 9 remaining groupies.
Okay, I close the door.
They're going with
Close
us.
the door.
Yeah.
Now what?
Now I go to that panel that lit up.
Put them in front of the door.
Okay, you go to the panel that lit up.
Vidar, touch something.
I start touching stuff.
Everything.
Roll d20.
Oh dear.
Please.
Just
please,
Vidar.
Please.
Yes.
Please. Please.
That's a 5.
Okay, so what happens is the hum, that low you heard earlier, really comes up and becomes much more audible, and you feel just the slightest vibration throughout the floor and walls and ceiling of the building.
Vidar, what did you do?
I touched stuff. I panicked. People
Oh,
were,
and the lights come on. The lights come on a little brighter.
There was
the
lightning
shelf in
outside.
the front lights up, and
If I look at that little
Yeah.
rectangular panel that was given
Yes.
the video
Yeah.
before, what do I see?
that lights up again, and that same humanoid that you saw before. You hear him saying, and of course, you're picking up more and more of this strange language as you listen to it. Something to the effect of there must be a malfunction. The shuttle has powered up. I'm trying to see if I can gain remote control of it. And he doesn't go back off because he doesn't really think anybody's in there. Stays on the screen. Outside, you hear a voice yelling something to the effect of, "Let's get inside there."
I touched something else.
Oh God!
I rolled a 1. So what happens next is this room that you're in itself comes to life. It begins to levitate. You hear boards creaking and snapping because it's breaking through the shell that was created around it to hide it as it lifts off the ground, levitates, and begins rising in the air. Now, as the boards fall away, you can see out the front window pane of this thing that you're now in a metal box levitating up out of the city. What do you do?
What are the groupies doing? I'm a little curious.
They now are stunned, and they're all looking out the window, kind of mouths hanging, pointing at the glass window. They can't believe they're in a metal box levitating over the city.
Quick, burn them. Burn them.
The room is starting to kind of rock and sway and wobble a little bit, and you're having to use some reflexes to keep your balance. It's kind of wobbly.
Do I notice anything around us? Do we notice?
The face on the screen, and Nillian mainly can hear this. The face on the screen says, wait a minute," and you see him look down, like off screen and down, and an arm movement. And then he's looking in there and he says, "Intruders, intruders. I'm going for remote control of the shuttle." And then his picture disappears off the screen.
I say they know that we're here. I say.
Okay.
That's all I say.
Who knows that we're here? Nillian, can you talk? Can you talk to this whatever we're in? Talk to the thing. Talk to it.
I start hitting buttons and telling the buttons because I don't have any other reference point.
No. Talk to
Okay.
it.
So you move forward to that shelf area to kind of press buttons, and you notice that so there's the one screen where the guy's face was, but on the other side by the other kind of front seat, there's a different kind of glass panel there. That glass panel is showing kind of a sphere shape with a red dot that appears to be your location. And it's showing up above that several other dots, whatever those are. And then it starts showing kind of a yellow dashed line from your red dot to one of the white dots that's away from the sphere of the world. And it keeps this, so this dash line goes out to that and goes it just keeps, it's like it's showing you some kind of path.
I'm telling the buttons because again I have no other reference. I'm saying to stop. I'm hitting all these different buttons while I'm looking at that. And
now you're hitting buttons, and kind of a female outworlder voice comes on and says, "Your command, sir."
What is it saying, Million? Can we see the
for a command?
By the way, Vidar,
Yeah.
you're kind of still holding and looking at that square glass panel thing. While you're looking at that, something really strange happens. That thing you're holding just translated the otherworlder language into yours.
Oh.
So it speaks back to you what's being said in your own language.
Oh. I tell
Do we
it-
all hear?
Does everybody hear?
If you move a little closer to them, yes, they're able to hear, and it's going to translate for them. Yep.
I go closer to them and I say, "Hey, this thing just translated it. What should I tell it to do?"
Quick side note: can we see the ground down below? Can we see the
Yes.
the people with the cannons and the
No,
wands and the?
you floated up, and the glass is pointed. So the shed was what would be to your right is where the shed was, and you floated up. So it's now below you, and to the right, can't see.
Do you
We
think
should
those
tell
people
it
will
to-
still get in?
Not
Oh, you're
way
high.
up.
Yeah. That was a 1-story building, but you're 4 or 5 in the air. Mhm.
We should tell it to go to the kobold village.
One of the groupies kind of tremblingly, how long does this levitate before it comes down?
I don't know. We're about to find out. How about
Calm
you
your
dance?
groupie, Gordon.
How about you
Let's go
just
to
dance?
the kobolds.
Okay, so I tell it go to the kobold village,
I forgot the name.
the Tyrolean
He-
plain west of Zorlon. That we never got a name. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The kind of the female outworlder voice says, "Shall I plot that different course? The course was already laid in for the docking bay. Shall I plot a different course?"
Yeah.
It already had a
They
course.
had
Where
a
was it
course.
going?
Where's the docking bay? And
Good
what
question,
is
Peter.
what is a docking bay?
Who is Docking Bay and why are we? I've
Sounds
never
like a
met
nice person.
The computerized voice will say the docking bay is located on the main transport in orbit above this world.
Yeah.
above the
Above
world.
this world?
Of the world.
Yes, let's go there.
No.
The shuttle turns and starts moving. The glass window on the front points upward toward the clouds, and all of a sudden the clouds are rushing at you, and the ground is falling away at a remarkable rate. And yet, even though the entire room, if that's what you're in, that entire room spun on its axis with the glass window lifting up, you didn't all fall down to the back of the room. Somehow, this thing is making its own center of gravity, its own gravity, and you're standing on the floor, even though now you should all be falling down to the back of the thing. That's not happening. You're all nice and safe and where you're supposed to be.
Knew we shouldn't have trusted those wizards.
And you can definitely feel momentum. a big rush of momentum.
This is definitely the Wizards Guild.
Definitely the
This
Wizards
gotta be
Guild.
the
Told you guys. I told you.
I'd say
You kept
The
saying I
glass
was-
window appears ready to smash into the clouds. What do you want to do?
I say
Duck.
Vidal.
Duck.
I
I'm
say-
speechless. I
I
don't
say-
say anything.
One last time
The
to
glass
dance.
window, the glass window, just the clouds just rush at the glass window. For a time, you can't see anything except an incredibly dense fog. Then, as fast as it came at you, the wall of clouds disappears, and you see for miles, as far as you can see to the horizon, almost a cottony, fluffy new ground of the clouds below you. You've actually shot above the clouds. You see off in the distance the sun. You see a bright blue sky around you. But if you look up toward the kind of the top of the glass, it goes from blue to purple to black. And it's rushing toward the blackness.
I say we've reached the end of the heavens.
The groupies now are fully terrified. The kobold, he seems to be standing nearest to Sako. He kind of takes your arm, but more like he's kind of afraid. He says, "What's going to happen to us?"
So we might not make it. We're probably going to die.
Probably not.
But this is a pretty terrific way to go out.
Thanks, Vidar.
Keeping it real. My name is Taco. Keeping it real.
My God.
The glass window seems to be filling more and more now with darkness. That bright blue color that you had initially experienced beyond the clouds is fading very quickly, goes to a dark purple. Now it's going to inky blackness that's growing. In fact, now through that glass window, looking out into the darkness, you can not only see pinpoints of stars as if suddenly night has fallen or you're rushing into or approaching the night, but in the distance, you pick up some metal boxes and they're getting bigger. And they're getting bigger faster.
Oh boy.
Wow, that's
There are
exciting.
4 of them that you can count, and your glass window is pointed at the biggest one.
I say I figure this thing is going wherever it's going to go. I'm gonna go look around and see what we can find. And I grab the pad and I take it with me and I start just searching around.
Okay, now see, that's good because what you can find is that on each side of this metal floating room, there appear to be like lockers. And they're not, there's not a code or anything like that. They just pull them open. Inside, you'll find a uniform. It's a human-sized uniform of the Outworlders. You will find a smaller version of the wand that makes lightning bolts. You'll find that. It appears to be attached to a belt. So when you put the belt on, the belt has a box in the back of it with a rope that goes to the wand that makes the lightning bolts. There's a holster on the belt as well. In addition, there appear to be in each locker, there appears to be some kind of, well, it is no way to describe it, a card made out of a substance that you've never seen before that's flexible and yet solid, that has some writing on it. And, it's about so big, maybe 3.5, 4 inches long, couple inches tall, has writing on it. On the back, it's got a stripe of a dark color across it. And boots, it's basic kind of stuff like that. 4 sets of that, 2 on each side.
I tell to the group, like, hey, look what I found. If we're going to the Outworlders location, maybe we should just try and blend in. And then I call Nillian over and I say, hey, can you read this thing? And I show him that card, and I don't know what he can do. So
Yeah, that's up to
Nillian, can you read?
maybe.
Actually, he looks at this and says, I've studied symbols that are close enough to this you can make this out. What you're looking at are identification cards. The writing on the cards appears to identify each of 4 members of a crew that were on this shuttle. What else it does, who knows, but it definitely has writing that is supposed to kind of give, this is who we are. It says something about security clearance, something like that.
I start putting on the clothes while he's.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I relay that to the rest of the team, and I
Okay.
grab the cards from Vidar, give them each one.
Okay.
We
All right.
need this, I say.
Now, the metal box that you've been heading for, as you get closer, it is overwhelming in size. You've never seen anything like this. You would estimate, ballpark, that the metal box you're heading for is half the size of the entire city of Zoralon. On this metal box, you can see various kinds of protrusions, but you don't know their function and why they're there. You can see that a giant metal door has opened in front of you, and that you are heading towards some kind of, sort of like a garage, like the floating thing was in on Zoralon, but this thing is huge, enormous, and you're headed right for it. The box room thing seems to know what it's doing and seems to be going right to it.
Are we all
So far, I
dressed?
have one party member dressing in the Outworlder's costume.
Well, is there one my size?
Yeah, because
They're human sized, but you can kind of make it work.
Okay.
It's not like you guys are, half the size of a human. You're most of the size of a human. It wouldn't work for chainmail, but for cloth, it's not such a big deal.
And there's four.
There's
total
four.
uniforms.
Yeah, four total. Yeah.
I'll
I'll
grab
put
one
one on.
and change as well.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right. So you put on the uniforms. Do you put on the belts? Are you going to carry
Yes.
the fiery wand
Yeah, I will.
things?
Yeah.
Okay, you are going to carry those. Okay. What do you do with those cards? You going to carry those?
Yeah,
For cards. Okay.
yeah, I
Are
am.
there pockets in the uniform?
Yep. The trousers have pockets. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
I'll take
definitely
one.
do that. As you approach where the door has opened, you notice that on the inside of this giant metal box where you're heading, that there are no people currently out walking around. They've kind of all cleared the area. You see other metal boxes similar to the one you're in, kind of parked and staged on both sides of this huge area. There are about 4 on each side, and you kind of float in. You can see already the big door swinging behind you, kind of coming across back and over behind you and closing. As it does, the lights come back up in this area, and people start coming out into this area as your box settles down to a pretty gentle landing, and then the hum goes goes down low, and you've landed.
I want to, while it's landing, inspect the wand. Just kind of look at it. And see.
Okay, so when you're looking at you can see they're actually thing. There's a trigger like a crossbow where you would kind of pull a trigger, but you can see there are settings. There's a red, there's a yellow, and then there's a green, and then there's actually a purple setting as well. And looks like the wand will do different things or different intensities by whatever button that you push. Also, you do see through your glass window that there are 2 guys in different kinds of uniforms coming toward the shuttle.